This is a training on identity. You see, the safety that you feel in your body, the thing that determines exactly who you are and what you do, is all related to your identity. Now, I just want to encourage you to have a breath. And I really want you to notice something. You didn't end up here by accident. Something within you knows that the version of you that got you here is very different to the version of you that will take you to the next level. Today is so much more than what you expect. It's not about fixing you. It's not about motivation. It's not about discipline. It's not about hacks for the strategy or trying harder. It's actually about identity. Because your behavior, the thing you actually want to change, will never outgrow your identity. And the effort that you put in will never outride your beliefs about who you believe you are. Nothing today requires you to share anything that you don't want to share. This is your time. I'd love you to get a notebook and a pen and really start to lean in. And if you do lean in, then this work has the potential to permanently change how you relate to yourself. And therefore, it'll change your life experience to one that you'll enjoy so much more than you are presently, even if presently it's actually great. So before we do anything else, we're going to actually settle your nervous system. And I just want you to place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. And we're just going to take some breaths with a long exhale. And again. That's right. You see, your nervous system learns through experience, way more than it will ever learn through logic. So today, rather than just talking about identity, we're actually allowing your body to experience something new. So I've broken this down into an anagram. So we're going to start with I. And I is for identity. And this is all about who you're currently being. You see, most people think that identity is their personality. However, your personality is actually your behavior. It includes things like your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions within an environment. Identity is underneath all that. It's the manual, it's the rule book. Identity is the set of unconscious beliefs that you hold about who you are. It's about the beliefs you hold around what's available to you, what's safe for you, what kind of person people like you are allowed to be. And here's the part that most people miss. Your nervous system's primary job is about so much more than happiness. It's not about success, it's not about fulfillment. It's actually about consistency and functioning to what it believes keeps you safe. And what keeps you safe is what you've programmed it to believe will keep you safe. So if growth threatens your safety, then it threatens your identity. If visibility threatens you, it's threatening your identity. If rest and ease and wealth, love or expansion contradicts who you believe yourself to be, then your nervous system and your unconscious mind will quietly sabotage everything you want. Never because you're broken, but because your system, your unconscious mind, is loyal to your old program. You see, self-sabotage doesn't happen because you lack willpower. You self-sabotage because your identity has not yet been upgraded to hold the new version of you. And no amount of strategy fixes an outdated self-concept. So we're going to do a little exercise. And I want you to write this sentence at the top of your page. I am the person who. And then I want you to write with no editing. Let it spill. Write things like, I'm the kind of person who has to work hard to be worthy. I'm the kind of person who doesn't get chosen. I'm the kind of person who always has to hold it all together. I'm the kind of person who never gets invited. I'm the kind of person who doesn't relax. I'm the kind of person who figures things out alone. And I want you to write down those things that are true for you. And I'd love you to notice something. None of this is true. It's conditioning, it's programming, it's installed programs. And these identities formed in you for a reason. They kept you safe, they helped you belong, and it's highly likely that they're no longer aligned with who you are wanting to become. There's no need to become better. You actually just need to get congruent with your goals and creating the life that you want. You need to create an identity that's used to going after the things you want. Identity is never formed slowly. It's formed in moments of emotional intensity. And those big moments of emotional intensity happen when you're making decisions. Your brain records decisions made under pressure as truth, especially when you are very young, especially when there's emotion involved, and especially when your nervous system is activated. So if when you were young, your parents told you to be quiet and they did it in an angry way, then it's highly likely that you've grown up without a voice, that you've grown up thinking that you're too much, that you've grown up thinking you're not good enough. And all of that was a program created in you around the time you were 4 or 5, purely because during a time of anger from your parents, you had to make the choice to stay small, to be safe. At some point, many of us as a child decided things like, I can't rely on anyone. I need to be strong. It's safer to not need. I won't be too much. I'll stay small to stay safe. And yet those ideas were never conscious choices. They were survival decisions. The version of you that made those decisions did the best they could with the resources they had at the time. However, survival decisions are never meant to be lifetime contracts. They're never meant to be a prison that you place yourself in. So right now, I encourage you to bring to mind a moment when you decided something about yourself. There's no need to relive it. I just want you to notice it. I want you to notice how old you were. Notice how small you were. Notice what you needed. Now notice you here, today, with your resources as an adult, with your awareness, with your determination. And I encourage you to update the decision that that younger version of you made. From this new version of you, what would you choose instead? Forget about what sounds nice, what really feels true in your body. We're just going to sit in silence for a moment, and I really want your nervous system to register this. Make sure you're breathing. Let the body, your nervous system, update, because this is identity change. It's so much more than positive thinking. It's more than affirmations layered over fear. This is a new internal decision. And when you change the decision, you change your identity. And when you change the identity, your behavior follows naturally. See, here's the thing. You can go back and do that for every single decision you made as a child. But next, we're going to look at how the mind proves identity and why evidence keeps people stuck even when they know better. Because let's face it, you know how to be the version you want to be. You just don't know how to make it happen. And that's because of the E in identity. It's what the mind uses to prove identity. You see, the human mind was never ever designed to seek truth. It was designed to seek safety and consistency. And our brain, as well as being a meaning-making machine, is an evidence-collecting machine. Once an identity is formed within your brain, the mind scans the environment looking for proof. looking for proof that what you already believe is correct. This is called the confirmation bias, and it's actually reinforced by your reticular activating system. If you believe that you're not supported, then your brain will filter and look around for where people are abandoning you and not supporting you. If you believe that you're a little bit behind, then your brain will filter for evidence that you're late. However, if you believe that you're powerful, then your brain will filter for opportunities to step into leadership. We're all working in the same world, however, a different identity will present you with a different reality. And this is why insight alone is never enough to change people. You see, you can know something logically, yet still live out of an old identity and an old program. Because the mind is still collecting evidence for who you used to be, because that's what you taught it to do. So what I want you to do now is I want you to write down 3 pieces of evidence you use to prove your current limitation. So if you're wanting success and you're not yet successful, what's the evidence you use to prove that to yourself? So some of these things might be like if you have relationships that didn't work, if you believe that money's not coming through, if you believe you've tried so many times and it never lands. I want you to write down those 3 pieces of evidence and then have a look at them. And now I want you to look at that evidence and ask this question. Is this actually true? Or is it an interpretation filtered through the mask you wear of that limitation? The second question is this the only meaning that exists? Or is it just the meaning that matches your current identity? And I want you to really let that land. You see, people who say there's not enough money in the world are sitting in their home listening to other people tell them the same thing. I live on the Gold Coast in Australia, and the thing is if you walk up to the marina, there is so much money tied up in boats. There are so many fancy cars. There are so many big buildings. Money is literally everywhere. And that's the evidence that I see. However, if I just stayed at home in my house, not really looking around, maybe I'd never notice them. So here's the thing, every event that you've ever been through is actually neutral. It's your belief system about your identity that assigns meaning to an experience. And the moment that your identity changes, that meaning collapses and you get to create a new bank of evidence. So what I want you to do now is create a new identity statement. I want you to write down, I'm the kind of person who, and fill in the blanks. Ask your mind to begin collecting new evidence. You don't need huge proof. You just need small, consistent, believable proof. It's so much more than motivation. You actually need a new evidence loop. And evidence has to be felt. It can't be thought or forced. And this brings us to perhaps the most important part of identity work, your nervous system. That's what the N in identity stands for. Identity is housed in the nervous system and is controlled through the unconscious mind. So let me tell you why change feels hard. Your nervous system decides what version of you is allowed to exist. It's not based on desire, it's actually based on safety. And this is why when people say they want to change, but feel exhausted or overwhelmed or frozen or stuck or avoidant, when they start to make it happen. You see, expansion often feels like danger. And that's because it is. It's unfamiliar. And so your nervous system labels that as dangerous because it prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar pleasure. So the pain of staying stuck, because your nervous system knows that, is less threatening than the pain of changing. If your identity learned that being small kept you safe and visibility feels unsafe, then anything that makes you visible is going to feel uncomfortable. This is so much more than a mindset issue. It's actually an unconscious mind issue. And it's a nervous system regulation issue. Because you can't affirmation your way into a safe nervous system. The body has to feel safe first. And the way we do that is to change the program at an unconscious level so that you can change the experience at a conscious level, so that you can change the behavior in the now. So I just want you to go ahead and just place one hand on your body. It can be anywhere, somewhere that grounds you, whether it's your legs or your arms, wherever you want. And we're just going to do that long breath again. One more. Now I want you to bring to mind the version of you that you're stepping into. Not the goal, the version of you have to be to get the goal. And I want you to pay attention to what happens in your body. Is there any tightness or constriction, any contradiction? And now, without force, allow safety and expansion inside yourself to exist together. It's okay to have sensation right now. You're teaching your system that this is survivable. This is actually how identity upgrades stick. It's never through pressure, it's actually through safety. And safety doesn't mean staying the same. Safety means that your nervous system trusts you. And trust is built through consistency. When the nervous system feels safe to expand, when you update your evidence, when you change decisions, then your identity starts to evolve in that order. So next we're going to look at the truth. What's actually your truth? And what's the truth you've inherited, absorbed, or adapted in order to survive? You see, when we start to look at the truth, we're actually doing deep disentanglement work. The truth. What's yours versus what you inherited? Most people actually think their identity is who they are. It never is. Identity is actually commonly inherited. Most identities aren't chosen. They're passed down from your family, from culture, from religion, gender roles, and from systems that required you to adapt in order to belong, like school. Belonging is a biological need, so we become whoever we needed to be. You never consciously chose most of your beliefs, you absorbed them. And absorption is far from consent. And with that, you took on these rules. And in every system, there are rules. Things like, in my family, we don't leave the table without asking. People like us don't get opportunities like that. Women shouldn't. Success comes with pain. These are all rules that become invisible and largely don't affect your life until you try to outgrow them. So discomfort during the growth phase doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It actually means you're violating an old rule, and that means you're doing it right. So right now, I encourage you to think of a belief that you've been carrying, one that doesn't serve you, one that feels heavy, and ask this question. Who did this belief belong to first? Was it a parent, a caregiver, your culture, your systems? And now quietly or out loud, I want you to say this sentence. This was never mine to carry. This is no longer my belief. And then say, I return it with respect. And do that for all of those limiting beliefs you have. Now what I want you to ask yourself is, what's actually true for you? Not what feels familiar, not what keeps the peace, what feels aligned. Because truth is never inherited, it's chosen. And that choice that you're making right now is the beginning of freedom. Because once you choose your truth, you have to integrate it. Because otherwise the insight fades. So integration is the next I in the word identity. And here we're going to make our identity real. Because insight is very far away from integration, and integration is the place where people fall down. You see, your nervous system never learns through big moments. It learns through repetition. It learns through small, consistent, embodied proof. And you'll never change your identity by making huge promises and massive changes in one go. You change your identity by making small agreements and actually keeping them. I'd love you right now to picture the identity that you're stepping into. What do they look like, feel like, and think like? And ask yourself this question. Would this upgraded version of me, what would that upgraded version of me do differently every single day? And from this, I want you to choose one behavior, just one. Something really small so that your nervous system can do this without panicking. It might be speaking up once without feeling afraid. It might be, not seeking justification for your ideas. It might be asking for support or saying no, or taking one aligned action. I want you to lock it in. This behavior is about identity confirmation. So every time you do it, your nervous system actually updates who you are. Discipline is never force, it's deep self-trust. And deep self-trust is built by keeping promises to yourself. Because those promises to yourself impact the unconscious mind. So right now, I want you to just imagine doing this one behavior that you've chosen every day for the next 30 days. And I want you to notice what would shift. What would change in your life? Because identity change is never dramatic, it's actually devotional. It's small acts repeated in alignment with consistency. Next, we're going to look at trajectory. Because identity changes more than behavior, it actually changes time. I want you to let this section feel really expansive. Most people think that their future's a destination. It really isn't. Your future's a trajectory, a timeline, if you will, a direction. And it's a direction that's created by identity. You never get what you want consistently. You get in life what aligns with who you believe yourself to be. And this is why motivation fades. This is why willpower burns out. Identity, on the other hand, compounds. Two people can take exactly the same action at exactly the same time and get very different outcomes. And that's because underneath the identity of the person is very different. I want you to imagine yourself right now and then go out 90 days into the future. I don't want you to imagine yourself achieving a goal. Everyone imagines that. I want you to be the identity that you've created today. And when you can fully step into that picture of who you created today, I want you to ask this question. If I stay this version of me, what becomes inevitable? And then lock in the trajectory. Not what you hope for, the version of your life that is in this new identity and that you've committed to make happen. This is identity-based creation. So rather than chasing the future, you're actually becoming the version of yourself that the future responds to, which brings us close together. And here's the final piece. It's actually you. And I want you to get really intimate with yourself for a minute. No one's coming to save you. And there's no problem with that. It's just a simple fact. The only person who can create change for you is you. So I want you to take a look at the responsibility that you have. Because this means you're not broken, you're not behind, you're not missing something. You just haven't yet been ready to choose consciously. And that's because the unconscious mind is still working without you. Personal responsibility is never self-blame, it's actually self-trust. And trusting in yourself that your unconscious mind needs an upgrade is so important. I want you to say this: I choose who I become from this moment. I really want you to do a declaration of your new identity. Just complete this sentence. From this point forward, I am the kind of person who, and then just go ahead and brain dump on that. Now notice how your body responds when you say that. That's congruence. You see, identity is rarely something you find, it's something you live, and you live it through your unconscious mind. So until you clear out the programs that are negative and away from what you want that are in your unconscious mind, which we do through integrated NLP, it will be difficult to move forward. You have to create new programs. You have to update your unconscious mind. And so I'd love to extend this invitation to you. What we've done here today is just such a small little taste. It's the introduction. Identity change happens repeatedly through life, and it happens through structure, through safety, through repetition. And this is exactly the work that we do at EAWTC inside our integrated NLP training. Sure, we motivate you, we hype you up. However, the most important piece is we help you re-architect your identity at the nervous system level. Now, some of you are here because you're ready to integrate, to stabilize this work. And some of you are here because you're ready to expand, to scale this identity into your work, your leadership, or your business. And some of you are here because you're ready to lead, to become the person others feel safe growing around. There's nothing you need to decide right now. I just want you to notice what's resonating for you. Your body already knows the answer. The question is no longer, can I change? The question is, who am I willing to be consistent as? So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for choosing yourself. If you're interested in integrated NLP, there's a link below. Book a call and we'll have a chat.